that everybody does at the beginning of the year.
even better. And I think for especially fans that are just beginning to watch, you'll start believing that because you're not watching something like, especially something that you think is like news, and thinking that half of it is a bunch of bullshit. You're thinking you're believing a lot of these things, and I remember being like that when I started watching football, and a lot of my concepts were just way off. Then you start seeing, that's what I always promote here. If you could see interviews with players, the candid type interviews, and we're beginning to see more now because of podcast.
Yeah.
Even Moncho Morales has his own podcast.
Everyone's got a podcast.
And you'll have the players, and sometimes there's players that are no longer active, so they're more likely to give more info. And they're not always gonna be, they're not always gonna, even those guys, they're not always gonna tell the truth.
Mm-hmm.
So, some of them, they're not gonna admit when they
You kind of have to read
when
between the
they
lines.
yeah, or when they mess up. But you could begin to put together pieces of the puzzle, like the shit you heard, and then what this person said, and when that person said, and that's been. I think I enjoy that more than the actual games. Just as a cheese me.
Yeah.
Which if we have a chance, we could probably go into some of that stuff, because there was one pretty telling about Bofo Bautista in Ramon Morales.
I
So if you
didn't
guys
I
want
didn't
to
see
look
that
for
one
that,
yet. What was the juice? What was the sauce?
he was blaming the De La Torres for kicking him out of Chivas.
Not surprising. I don't think that was like a
But
secret though.
yeah, but the thing is that he's a player that had been, he ended up being pretty bad in pretty much almost every team he was at. So like I thought, well, this was going way back, and I didn't really pay attention to if a player's on loan or if
Mm-hmm.
it was a purchase. I didn't know when he was at Tecos that he went to Morelia on loan, and he was 2 seasons there, and both seasons they was back to back finals,
Finals. Yeah.
and I didn't know that that was still unknown, and they still didn't buy him. It's like he was at that point one of the best prospects in Liga MX. He goes to Pachuca, another final, man, and
Mm-hmm.
they don't even buy him. It ends up being Chivas that buys him,
Wait, so
and Tecos.
his carta belonged to Decos the whole
Yeah,
time?
yeah, I didn't know that, and I'm just going
Wow.
off. I'm going off of Bautista.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So you gotta take some things with a grain of salt too, because Joel has De La Torre uh, goggles on. Like he will never find a flaw in them, right? But no, I guarantee you that there because I was the one who posted it on our chat, right? And so it's a pretty entertaining interview. Granted, what's his name? Bofo's not a choir boy by any means, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it does sound like what's his name? Chepo de la Torre decided to go into business for himself to get rid of Bofo, and then of course Vergara wasn't cool with that, so things were fixed later on. But it's a good interview on that podcast, right?
Yeah,
I
I'll have to
honestly
watch it.
think that De La Torre has the personality of a rabid animal, right?
No, I,
And both likes to play grab ass on teams, right? So
yeah, I feel no. Just really quick, I do agree. It was because I think um, and this will be Chepo, and I do think he does have like his attitude. He doesn't warm up to players, and it sounded like a group within Chivas was against him already.
yeah. Hmm.
And I do think that's part of why the selección when they um when they ended up struggling there in the hexagonal, I do think that was part of it. He just didn't have that type of personality where he could motivate these guys to improve,
and,
because he
and it's a
believed
and it's a shame too because he's technically sound, man. He's a good coach.
Well, his record was really good going
Yeah.
into the hexagonal. He had set a couple records for weigh-ins and all of that. And yeah, I think that did him in finally. Um, yeah, I do agree on that part there, Colasso. I don't take him any from fault, but fans forget that Buffalo had ended up like at odds with the coach and even players, and had even fought teammates. So he was already like a difficult person to, and he kind of like throw himself under the bus when he talks about when Hans Westerhoff arrives to Chivas and he tells them, "All right, I want you guys to come to my training. I want you to be wearing this. I want you to wear this outfit." And he shows up wearing like completely like going off of his words, like kind of the opposite.
Yeah,
And
Hans wanted him to wear like a suit or something like that, and he showed up like in comfortable clothing and
in sweats. And he's like, "Well, I have to be different." He says, "I'm like, dude, what the fuck?" I'm like, I could start seeing already why some of these people would end up, not liking them.
yeah,
But
it sounded like it was a divided locker room, right?
yeah,
Because this
Him and La Volpe were on Maestros de la Jugada, and you could see like the two schools of thought, and La Volpe could care less about their personal lives outside of the pitch, and Chepo was more about the whole discipline
yeah.
on and off the
Well,
pitch, 24 hours a day, and it's just like neither one is wrong or right. I do think that like it's just manager styles, but I will say if you are with a younger crowd, you gotta let these fuckers like roam a little bit. They're kids, bro.
I,
You can't have them act like adults their entire career.
no, but
but I
again,
mean,
that's also Jaime. That's part of the issue, though. Too, though, if you're a professional athlete,
there you go.
that that
Beat me
that
to
is
it,
your
Colasso.
that is your
Yes.
job, right? You need to be
Yeah.
professional, and I think that's where Chepo was probably right. He can lead you to
I
water,
would
but can't make you
say
drink,
I
man.
would say until it affects on the field performances, they can do whatever the fuck they want, bro.
Well, I
No,
Once it
think I
affects
think
on-field performance, though, it's too late.
Huh?
go ahead,
Once
Al.
once it affects on-field performance, it's too
It's
late.
too late. Yep, agreed.
But there are players that like you have like the Ronaldinhos and stuff. Just
that's an exception.
I
You
know I
can't
know it's an
mention that
exception, but
Cruyff
you do
or
have a.
Ronaldinho. Those guys are.
I'm not trying to compare Bofo to Ronaldinho, but they are of the same like as far as style. They're very creative players. Very like they do things that no other player can do. Even like you can go to training and you can't even come up with that kind of shit that they do on the field. And
But Bofo was so inconsistent.
he was
Yeah.
inconsistent. I will give him that. And that's where you start to criticize the player
I,
on the
I
off
don't
the
know if
field
I'm the,
performances, but
I
at the
don't know if
same
I'm the
time, bro,
only
they're a
one on
wild
this.
horse. You can't tame a wild horse.
I don't know if
No,
I'm the
no,
only one on this, but
you can't. But what Joel was saying is that there's exceptions to every rule, right?
yeah.
So when you put out Chicote and all those guys that were out drinking whatever, and they were playing like crap that season.
I don't think they weren't playing like crap, dude. They were in 5th place. This was during the pandemic, like where you couldn't go out, and they
Some of these guys weren't up to par, right? And so if you're professional, you have to show up to work, right? And again, I just wanted to go back to that point Chepo made that I agreed with is, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't force it to drink. That person has to put in that extra work instead of going over and hey, I'm gonna
Yeah.
go and start lifting instead
Well,
of lifting weights, I'm gonna go lift a few 6-packs, right? I mean,
but then it ties into the whole Europe thing as well because
And not
they're
even
more
the Europe
strict.
thing. You also got to consider what club you represent. You're not representing Querétaro or Puebla. If you represent a top team like Chivas, America, whatever, you also got to live that lifestyle because the club is giving you a great salary. If you do well at the club with off the field, as far as like uh, sponsorships and things like that, the
I don't
club's
think
helping you
America
out.
players have ever conducted themselves professionally. They get hookers and stuff. They get lap
No,
dances
but
before
They
games,
have
bro.
that part. Is it holes before goals?
They're scoring off the field so they can score on the field.
No, but my text here was Chucky Lozano. That story we heard, right? Of his, he's showing up to training and the coach sees him with sour face and just kicks him out, sends him home. And Moncho was talking about how Hans expected them during training that they had to play hard, even if it was a cascarita. Like you had to tackle hard, you had to like go all in, you had to play balls to the wall. And I think that's when we've seen some of the players that struggle is because I do feel that's some of the difference in mentality where they can be more relaxed in Liga MX, and then when they go abroad, it's like, oh shit, what it takes them by surprise for some of them. And when you have someone like Bofo that lacks that discipline, and they tell him, hey, bring this, bring your trainers, and he shows up in sweats and in a hot topic T-shirt, then you know what I mean. At that point, you start going at odds with the coach, and you start spacing or not giving you minutes. So that was kind of my take for that, but I don't wanna I don't want to taint all Bofo. I think for me the best part of the interview was his whole thing at Boca Juniors, his whole experience at La Bombonera.
Oh.
I didn't know this part, or if I did, I forgot. He said people like once he was inside the locker rooms in the back, they had to barricade themselves in there because people had gotten
Oh, they got
in there.
in?
They were pounding the door, and they said
Oh
they were like,
shit, dude.
yeah, they were stacking things there. They were,
It was probably
and he said
the same staff that they let in the hinchas.
no, you're right. It was because during the game you see us, and he talks about this too. But you could see it if you ever get to see the replays. One of the securities helps one of the fans.
Oh, I bet,
Uh,
dude. I'm sure they armed him too with fucking bottles and shit.
yeah, well, for some of these, sometimes the club employs them, and they employ them through
Yeah.
like the barra brava and shit like that, or like club socios that own whatever business, and then it's they're all connected. So that's where you get that. But yeah, I recommend that. Codazo, you remember the name of it? Is it just Ramon Morales?
I may have subscribed to it just in. So I'll make sure to get that over to Jaime.
Yeah, I'll find it real quick. As far as talking about the mentality or like the discipline, there was something that sort of got aired out with Alexis Vega, and everybody thought he was going to have all these offers going after the World Cup. And in the end, I don't think he received any. He talked about how he had an offer for like a 6-month trial to go to Europe, and he didn't take it. And people are like criticizing him for doing that. And then you have players like Antuna who are kind of being held hostage right now at Cruz Azul. He's trying to leave. He's trying to go to, I think, Greece. And Cruz Azul said that the offer was too low. So
Greece is a fisherman's league, Jaime. Really thought they have money.
yeah. So you have sort of like the two attitudes. You have one player who's like not willing to take a risk on a 6-month trial. Then you have another player that's trying to go back out in Europe. Antuna was in Europe.
Completely different situation. Apples or oranges.
Yeah. So what are your
One's a
thoughts on it,
trial, one's an
Habibi?
actual offer.
What happened?
One is a trial and one's an actual offer, like an actual contract.
True.
That's the big difference. I mean, Antuna's not being offered a 6-month trial. He's being offered a 3-4 year contract, and that gives you stability. Why would you want to go to Europe 6 months? The coach gets fired, you get injured, whatever happens out of your control, you get sent back home, and now European clubs you think you suck, and you might have ruined your future chances of going back to Europe. That's what I
and
think.
not only that, and you lost money there too because you're taking a pay cut.
Yeah, I mean, I would have to know what team it was that offered a trial. If it's like a team like, Real Madrid, Manchester United.
Doubt it.
I'm just saying, it depends on the, like, Jurgen Damm had a trial at Manchester United at one point of his career. So did, wasn't Antuna?
But how old was he though? Well, was
the
he
rumor is that
15?
it was Wolves. That's the rumor.
Wolves?
Yes.
And you're not willing to take that risk? You're not willing to gamble on yourself? That's the thing that
much relegated. They're relegated.
Hugo Sanchez said that he was willing to take a risk and gamble on himself, and he wasn't really he didn't really care about all the other factors outside of him just trying to play well and sell himself. And I agree, a player like Vega, his pedigree and him going to the World Cup, he shouldn't be getting a 6-month trial. He should fire his fucking agent for that. Like
Yep, I agree.
he needs a Jorge Mendes to whore him around, dude. Like I don't understand these agents at times, bro. Like any other player that had like the stuff that Alexis Vega has done would already be in Europe, dude.
Well, yeah, I don't know if you heard Camo talking about him during the Maestros de la Jugada. He was full of praise. He said he could
He can
play
play
in any
anywhere.
league in Europe. And I mean, I know fans are judging him for the World Cup. That's what 3-4 games. You really can't based off of the World Cup. And we talked about this in the chat how we saw the opposite with Jaime. It was in James, the Colombian. Right? He ends
James.
up having a great World Cup. He sells for record fees and then he sort of like disappears.
He went to Madrid when Madrid was just getting the players of the flavors of the month, so to speak. And yeah, he kind of just fizzled out. But at the end of the day, man, it's like you have what's that one player from Argentina selling for like 135, going to Chelsea?
Enzo Fernandez.
Yeah, bro. They're just paying that World Cup tax.
Yeah, he's not worth that at all.
Yeah, we did have Cesar Montes. He went to
Oh wait,
Espanyol, and he didn't need 6 months to adjust or adapt. He already debuted in the Copa del Rey. Like,
Bro, you're just hating at this point.
I'm not
He had a
hating.
legit contract.
I'm not hating. I'm just saying, bro. Like, you could go to Wolves, play in the Premier League. They have the FA Cup. They got the Carabao Cup. They have so many tournaments. You're telling me he's not gonna get minutes out there? Like, I don't know, dude.
probably
But
not.
it's not about a thing about self belief. You also got to protect yourself.
Yes.
Like Orbelin. Like didn't Orbelin go and then a new coach came in or something? Or
Yep.
no, Colette was already there. I can't remember who was the player that
Well, no,
showed up.
supposedly the coach there was already someone else brought him, and that the coach that was there had instructions not to play him.
What he didn't like ask for him, right? That was the whole thing. Like he didn't.
No,
Yeah.
no, but agent was like, "Don't play this guy. Like they were like 86ing him or something, and that was affecting him pretty bad.
Yeah.
He got lucky that Almeida was out there.
And he's doing great over there in that Fisherman's League.
It's like
He's taking one of Nettie's tours, man.
fishing tours.
Fishing tours.
Hey,
No,
Marcelo and James playing that league.
I'm glad that Alexis didn't take that loan, man. He's worth more than that, man. And you know what? Might as well stay stay at Chivas, see what he can do with them for a little bit, and see if he can get a bigger a you know multi-year deal at a European team at that point. But yeah, there's no point in him going over there. And coach looks at him, goes, you know, I don't really like him. I'm not going to play him. And I know there's a lot of tournaments and stuff out there, but how many times did some of our other Mexican players go out there and just go ride pine? Oh, you just had
Yeah.
Jota Macias who just went out there.
He went to Getafe though, and they only have the Copa del Rey. It's not too
Well,
many tournaments.
and he got injured, so that also affected him, his injury. But yeah, like I just think for me, is fans are too desperate to see Mexican players abroad. Anytime they hear someone turn someone down or that a club didn't agree, they make it seem so negative. And I was seeing the debate over Antuna, which we don't even know if it's true, right? You just hear the rumor, and that supposedly Panathinaikos or one of those Greek teams that they were offering like under a million, like for the loan, and then they bought him like 4 million, maybe I think something like that. And I think Cruz Azul wanted 6, and they wanted a million for the loan. and people are saying that's too much.
And
I'm like, really? You have transfers at upwards of 130 million? You're telling me 6 million is a lot? Even if they said 8 million, that's peanuts, man. In the in the world of football, that's not a lot. But you gotta see yourself as Cruz Azul, and I have a player that was at the World Cup and who has a high probability of being in the next cycle for the next World Cup. That's a lot of free advertisement for your club right there. That will cost you even
I
more
just hope
money every
Antuna gets sold because we have a cut of that deal.
time. Well, for 8 million, how much would Chivas get though?
Probably like at least a quarter. No, I don't know.
But
Well,
I just want
apparently Chivas and Cruz Azul cut 50% of each player, being Piojo and Antuna.
Oh wow, 50%, even better.
Yeah. Wow.
I just want to see how the Greek if the Greek want to punch him in those big ass teeth like I do, man.
Hey, but I'm just gonna say this: if it wasn't for Berlin and doing well, Antuna wouldn't even have this offer. That's why it's good and important to send players out there and important to do well because it opens doors for everybody else.
True.
Hmm. Well, he's not welcome in Jalisco. Every time he touched the ball in that final, he got booed.
But you know who? Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw the highlights. Jordan Carrillo, that used to play at Santos. He's played with Sporting Gijon, second division league teams in La Liga. He only came on for 20 minutes, but he killed it. He was like doing work. He got a foul outside the box. The team scored the free kick,
I saw the
but like he
highlight.
was,
Yeah,
yeah, he was just shaking everybody. That kid's
he
like 21. He looks way more promising than Marcelo Flores and Lainez.
if I'm not mistaken,
Damn.
Sporting. Uh, what is it? Sporting what?
Gijon, I don't know,
Gijon.
Sporting
Gijon.
Gijon.
They're
Tijuana.
they're owned by Orlegi, no?
I thought that was
Probably.
like Oviedo.
Yeah, because he was at Santos, so yeah, that would make sense.
Okay, okay,
Oviedo's owned by Grupo Pachuca.
that's who it is. Okay.
Crazy to see them owning Liga MX owning teams in Europe.
Yeah,
No, I don't have a whole lot of familiarity with Carrillo, but honestly, man, the more competition for specific positions, the better. This is what the selection needs. It's competition, and whether you have these players at Liga MX or in Europe or wherever the hell, there has to be that competition.
I agree,
True.
and that's why I think Alexi should stay. If with Guzman coming in, they can like complement each other really well. And if Alexis has that tournament that everyone has been waiting for him to have, he can definitely leave on much better conditions in the summer.
yeah. Let's see if they can win some silverware. I don't want to get ahead of myself or get too excited. There was one comment that Fernando Hierro said, and that was about Chivas are not going to be sponsoring the league when it came to like buying refuerzos. And it's the same old story, guys. Everyone's demanding too much money for their players, and it looks like they were gonna double down on the cantera.
I mean, usually that would annoy me, but I kind of agree with him because if you look at the market, there's not really much. There's not a big talent pool. Like
Well,
Palermo
you
from
have like
Pumas,
Luis
the center
Chavez,
back.
right? Luis Chavez
They
going
want
to
to
Rayados, and I'm like, dude, if he
who?
Luis Chavez.
He's not going to Rayados. He said no.
Oh, well, I'm just saying, like there was an offer on the table, and it's like if you're gonna like go, like at least go to like Chivas or go to Europe. Like those are the only two.
That's what he said. He said
Biased
he's
much,
like I'm
Sherman.
27 years old. If I go to Monterrey, I know I have very little chances going to Europe. He said this to TUDN. He told him I know I have very little chance going to Europe. So if anything, I'll stay at Pachuca and wait to see if an opportunity arises. But anyways, going back to my point, okay, take Luis Chavez out. The talent pool is very low. The guy Monterrey bought from Puebla, I can't remember his name, Carizola or Carizol. Uh, they paid a good amount of money for him, and that dude's a nobody. Palermo, center back from Pumas, he's like 30 something years old. Pumas wanted like 2.5 million for him, and Chivas
Damn.
said, "I'll give you one." And outside of that, like, give me okay, the other one, Cesar Montes. He wasn't going to Chivas. He wanted to go to Europe. He
Yeah.
was willing to go to Russia so he could then make a move
Oh, that's
somewhere else.
right.
I mean, the
Yeah.
talent pool is not there. So why is Chivas going to go pay like Rios from where again? Charlotte.
Danny
Rios is
Rios.
not worth no 5 million. They completely overpaid for that guy.
Hey, man. And the saddest part about that deal and Pocho, they're both players from the academy. It's like we played ourselves. Like those are both players that came from Chivas Academy, and now we're having to spend money to get him back. And on top of that, to put salt in an open wound, they gave him the number 9, bro. It's like, really? You're gonna give him the number 9?
What did you want it to have?
Not the 9, bro. You leave that
And
for
for who?
Macias, or you leave that you leave, dude. Like players that wear the 9, they have to be like scoring a lot of goals, and I don't know, man. I don't see that
I do
Man,
happening.
ain't
agree
no
with
one scoring
that.
a lot of goals at Chivas though. Wasn't Chelo like leading goal scorer with
Like
4 goals or
Alan
something?
Pulido was the last legit number 9, dude. He actually came through with some goals and a title. So after Omar Bravo left, yeah, he was the only worthy player with the for the number 9. It's like the number 10,
She was,
dude. Those are two numbers you don't play around with.
and she
I
was
do agree
also
with
the number 8, which they retired, and I'm against the retiring of numbers.
What were you gonna say, Golazo?
no. I was just going to agree with Al Pastor and Iron Man is that yeah, overpaying for players is just not in the best interest of Chivas. And again, if Pauno's very good with working with younger players, then we got somebody who might be the right guy to help kind of elevate some of these youngsters, right? Sounds like at the very least in the preseason tournament, what was it called, Copa para Mexico or something like that or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it looks like in particular that who was it? It was the game before Cruz Azul where he played with the younger team with a lot of the guys that are going to be on the bench. You know, he had them playing very confidently and nice and smoothly, right? And yeah, granted they made a few mistakes. They're a younger squad, but I didn't have a problem with that. If you can elevate and build confidence with some of those younger players, um, let's go with that. You know, to hell with overpaying for old ass players or MLS players.
Yeah, and I'll stick to my point. The talent pool sucks. There should be at least like 50, 60 good Mexican players spread out across 18 Liga MX teams, and there's not even 15. It's like, so what are you gonna over the good ones? They're going to Europe or they're going to Monterrey or Tigres, and there's like literally crumbs left. Why are you gonna overpay for crumbs?
No, I agree with that, and I know Tata Martino rubbed people the wrong way. It might have been this week or the week before when he said that he went and hung out in Argentina instead of seeing a player pool that had no Mexican players at Liga MX. I mean, how do you build a team when when the Mexican players aren't on the field,
Yeah.
right? So it goes with this. Why are you going to overpay for players that aren't on the field or that aren't good enough?
Well, boys, I did have another topic. It's maybe not the most Mexican related, but it is pretty funny. Gio Reyna. Oh boy. Long story short, there was that whole controversy with him and the coach going at it. He was not. They told him that he was going to be on the bench for the World Cup, and the coach started to talk about his discipline, lack of training effort, and all that stuff.
No, you skipped a beat, mi Jaime.
Let's hear it, Joel.
Yeah, no, so the coach, tells him that he wasn't going to get much playing time, and Gio sort of blew a gasket and started talking mad shit, or just made a big scene, and so he was gonna, and this is from Berhalter saying they had like a meeting because they thought of even sending them back, sending them, just kicking them out of the squad. And they decided to give him a chance, and like he ended up apologizing to the whole squad, and he eventually got some playing time. But then when after the World Cup, Halter started airing out dirty laundry, and he mentioned this. This is when he talked about this,
He
and
used that as an example, like at a where he got invited to talk for something.
yeah, man, and it got it spread like wildfire among the U.S. fans, and then Gio replied, and then you're up at that, Jaime.
And
We got
then
the
mommy and daddy start stepping in, and they were upset. It's like when you go to the principal and like, why did my son not pass the fifth grade? Because he's dumb. He's not smart enough to. Well, he needs to pass anyway. And I don't know, man. They were
No, I agree and I disagree.
they were able to dig up some dirt, bro. Some dirt from like I don't know the 1800s about
no,
Greg.
they didn't dig it out.
No,
They
no, you gotta
they
put
they
some
knew it. They
context.
knew it.
No,
Yeah,
here's
they
the
knew it.
context.
All right, I'm bad at
Gio's
storytelling. You
dad,
guys can tell the story.
Okay,
Gio's
dale,
dad,
dale.
Claudio and Greg, they went to the same high school. They played high school ball, college ball, national team. Literally known themselves their whole life. Gio's mom and Greg's wife, same thing. At University of Carolina, they were on the college team 4 years. They were roommates. So when this whole thing went down with Greg, like kicking her and everything, the wife went back, obviously, to her roommate, who's Gio's mom. So she was the first account witness of everything. They broke up and they didn't get back together like 7 months later. Apparently, he did therapy. The wife had to do therapy, the whole
Damn.
works. So when the whole thing, when he was at the leadership conference and he aired that dirty laundry out, she called one of the people at U.S. Soccer. Like she came out with a statement. I'm not saying it's true.
Ernie
This is what
Stewart.
she said. She said that she called of someone that she considers a friend and said, "I don't understand why they're giving my son all this heat. He's getting criticized all over social media. That he's not a good team player, whatever. Like, why would Greg air this out? This stuff that takes in the locker room because since they go back 30 years." And like their families and friend kids have intermingled. She's like, I show grace by forgiving him what he did to my best friend. We forgave him. I would expect him to have the same grace with my son and not throw him under the bus. Apparently, and she says, the guy I told this to went ahead and did an investigation. I'm not judging him, but I never told him to do an investigation, never talked to this about to anyone else on US soccer. No one has my family has talked about it.
Mm,
So I don't think it was like a mommy daddy thing. I think like she went and told her friend, and then her friend felt like him being part of U.S. soccer, it was his job to investigate it. I don't freaking know, but I can
damn.
understand where they're coming from, though. I mean, they go back. Imagine like your best, one of your best friends, and you forgave him for something he did 30 years ago. Your kids hang out, and then he criticizes your son, and like at a national level, you're gonna be like, "Yo, bro, what's going on?"
I don't know, man. I just feel like it's like why did
I know. Me vale madre. Yo
Well,
soy mexicano, but I'm
yeah.
just saying.
I, like
well, no, I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why because his job is he has a good chance of being renewed as coach. So if they still have beef, he could keep Gio out of the national team, and the next World Cup is going to be here in the U.S. And this kid's still dependent on that because he's still fairly young. So they're seeing him with high possibilities of not making the squad if Berhalter
Impossible.
gets renewed.
You don't leave a talent like that out. You can't leave it out. And
Hey,
Greg,
well,
majority of U.S. fans don't
you,
even want Greg to renew. Like the actual fans that know about the game, they don't. Your casual fans, like, yeah, whatever. But like, if you look at all the World Cup games and all their games, he sucks at subs. He makes them too late. He always relies on the players to save his butt. But tactically and everything, like he's terrible. And his management, same thing. His man management is terrible. Have you seen his speeches? Go look at his speech when they tied England. He said, "The whole world thought we were going to lose, but you showed them we can beat anybody." I'm like, bro, is that how you motivate people? You came off a tie.
He's not a good coach, and I would be shocked if they decide to keep him.
And he got appointed by his brother. His brother was part of U.S. Soccer when he got appointed. So
I see. Yeah, I just think it's funny that mommy and daddy had to like step in, and it just goes to show, man. Like when it comes to Americans, bro, they'll dig up some dirt, bro. Can't be
It's
yeah,
just a
trusted.
just
bunch. It's a
you remember
bunch
the
of
Rooney
comadres.
Vardy situation?
The what?
Wayne Rooney and Vardy,
Vardy
Jamie
and
Vardy.
what? Like what? They cheated on their wives or what?
Well, basically their wives had beef, same thing, and like it became a big controversy in England
Oh,
and having them national team. Well, I saw a lot of U.S. fans saying, this is like the Wayne Rooney Vardy situation. It means we're finally becoming a football country.
oh God.
We should be world champs soon.
Yeah, that's funny. We've had bigger scandals in the Mexican league or the national team.
Prostitutes, transvestites,
Yeah.
bad meat, cocaine.
Damn, yeah. Bad meat. Clenbuterol, the clenbuterol.
Yep.
And then supposedly, this was a rumor that Chao Carmona and Aron Galindo double teamed uh, Rafa Marquez ex-wife.
Wait, who?
Aaron
Chava
Galindo
Carmona,
and
yeah,
And
and
Aron,
Chava Carmona.
Aron Galindo?
Yeah,
yeah,
and Salvador Carmona.
All the two juice heads, huh?
That was the rumor. I think she's getting even at Rafa.
Damn, dude.
And I think she had been around. She was one of those like what do they call them in England, wags or whatever. That like those that end up like dating a lot of players. So I think when he met her, she had already fame of like having dated a lot of ex or players.
Damn.
I'm waiting. That's one of the interviews I'm waiting. I haven't seen. No, no one's reached out to Chava or Arondo.
There was a interview with that dude, the whatever tomorrow, the YouTuber, and he interviewed one of like the party girls, and she was telling all these secrets about some players, but she didn't name them.
Jaime White. Oh, then I don't.
Well, we have Liga MX returning on Friday. How do you guys feel? I'm excited. We had a little preview in that Copa por Mexico. I know you got to take it with a grain of salt, but you had, obviously Cruz Azul winning. America looked good. Chivas looked good. Everybody else was kind of like, eh. Tigres surprisingly not doing so well, but it's all preseason.
Who's their coach? Because I know they fired Piojo.
David Coca.
All right, Coca.
He coached Atlas, won them 2 championships, and now he's at Tigres.
That's the dream job right now. You're in Liga MX. If you could entertain the treatment that Tuca had, where he ended up being there for 10 years, the sweet salary.
Yeah, you don't really see that in Liga MX, so it's kind of weird to see a player, a
Yeah,
coach
very rare.
last that long in Liga
Yeah,
MX.
no, I think Arias was the last one. Raúl Arias at Cruz Azul. I mean, Necaxa.
How long was he there for?
Had like 10, 11 years.
Oh shit! Did he go through like the whole relegation too, or no?
I don't remember, dude.
Oh.
They weren't the team that they used to be. They're still competitive, but not
Wait, I
nowhere
thought
near the team under La Puente. That
I
was
was about to
the
say I thought La Puente was a coach during their golden years.
Yeah, he was, but then when he leaves, I think Aria takes over, and
Oh, okay.
I think he was one of his assistants. I don't remember. Maybe Colasso can shed some light. And he stayed there for a long time. He did keep him pretty relevant, but and they didn't have the level of players they used to have, so that's not on him,
He
because
co-
they used to bring in some really top talent like Ivo Vasai and Alex Aguinaga, and those players are just very.
so he coached Necaxa from 98 to 2005, won a title with
Yeah.
them.
So he took over after they brought after what's his face took over the national team, La Puente,
Yes.
right? So once La Puente left, Arias was his assistant and took over
He
and had a yeah, he definitely had a decent run.
Yeah.
Yeah, he won a title, and then up until the recent deep run by Tigres, Necaxa had won the third place in the Club World Cup. So he,
Yeah.
so he,
But was that? I don't think that was under him, was it?
yeah, he did.
Oh, he's. Oh yeah, he still had those. He still had some of those good players, and um,
I forgot
I
he
remember
coached
some
Chivas
of
at
those
one
games.
point.
Oh,
Pretty much everybody coaches Chivas at one point. There was like 20 coaches.
Everyone has that on their body count. Chivas, yeah, there was a time.
Joel, wasn't it during the press conference where Arias said, well, he was sitting next to Vergara, when they asked him what he thought of Vergara, and he said, I used to think que era payaso or something like that.
I
You,
don't remember that,
I
dude.
think
I
that
wish
was,
I
I
did.
think that was him, man.
No
Damn.
way.
But he
And then
did.
he
He
got
did come across. And then what?
no. They were doing the press conference because I guess being Televisa back then, because Necaxa was Televisa back then, right?
Yeah, yeah, they
And
were.
and so you know, yeah, I guess they'd had war of words before, and then now they were working together, and so
His
Arias said that
honesty.
he used to think Vergara was a payaso. I need to see if I can find that on YouTube somewhere, man.
He he did. Vergara used to be kind of outlandish, and he would always try to. I guess I did like this thing about him where he would try to like make the games more interesting by like starting like rivalries, and he was starting one with Pumas, and he was doing like they do in Argentina where they take out the billboards, and it'll be like a sort of like a burn on you, like I think the one against America was En su nido solo nuestros huevos or something like that. And some of the owners started complaining that those ads were going to instigate violence, and they stopped doing them. Uh, and for Pumas was something about Gatito, like kind of like the Tweety Bird. Like I thought I heard a kitty cat or something like that. Um, and Pumas, that one rock group Molotov, they did a song against Vergara or Chivas or someone.
Oh, they were upset
Yeah,
about
they have a
that.
song.
They were really upset about that.
I don't know if they were upset. It could just be like taking the piss.
Because like
It
Pumas allowed us to have that homage for Chava Reyes,
yeah,
and then we beat them, and then we tweet that after the game, and they're like, "You guys are unprofessional."
that was Chivas refuerzo that season, man.
It's like
80-year-old dude.
it's like inviting someone over to dinner and then just like capping on them
he
all night, just like making fun of
he's
them.
I don't like they retired the number 8. I feel it should be more like kind of how they do it in Man United with like the number 7, and they give it to like their best player or one of their best players.
By the way, guys, I'm not finding anything on YouTube, but I did find a 2009 Medio Tiempo article where it says que Raúl Arias aseguró que veía a Vergara como un tipo payasón.
Yeah, and he did. He did. Low key, he did come across like that a lot of times.
We have a comment in the YouTube section. He says, "So are y'all gonna talk about anything?" Thanks,
Damn.
Sergio Cruz. Tell us how you really feel.
if, if, if you have a topic, and we always invite you guys to come into Twitter and
Yeah.
we'd like to give the microphone. Or if you have a topic you would like to hear, we would also discuss it.
I don't have a topic, but here's my hot take: Pumas, Pachuca, Chivas finish in the top five. I don't know who the other two will
Wait, you
be.
said Pumas?
Hey, I still think last season Pumas got so many good players, they just couldn't click.
Danny Alves?
And I think this year's gonna
Is
no
he
man. They
still
got
there?
so many.
Is he
Yeah,
still
he's
The
gonna
still
be
number
there?
there.
10, the number 10's a baller. Dineno's a baller.
He is a
Dani
baller.
Alves, I think he's gonna come out hungry and like
Who's that Brazilian guy they have? Striker.
I don't think Daniel is ever gonna be hungry. That guy is.
Oh, we have
He's he's some.
Tommy on. He wants to speak. Tommy, welcome to the podcast. You're on mute.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Uh, just wanted to catch you guys' opinions. I didn't hear. I don't know if you guys already talked about it, but assessing Mexico's performance at the World Cup, the future. Are they just kind of this is the best that they'll ever be? Just kind of a attraction here in the U.S. And then are we happy for Messi? So just curious to see what you guys think.
Man, why you got to talk about sad stories, bro? We don't want to talk about that. I was, I
Why are you
was,
bringing up
that's
old shit?
you know,
2022, man. I left that in the past.
I kid you not, guys. Getting prepared for this podcast tonight. I got home from the gym. I worked out. I took a shower, and in the shower, I had that shower thought like, "Pinche tata, you fucked up our World Cup, bro." Like I was just so angry, dude.
All these flavors, and Tomas brought us salt, man.
Hey man, I'm like a super just headline soccer fan. I just look for the highlights. Like I just see like oh shit, another one and done. So just sorry to bring up old wounds. Just curious.
Open them up
It
and salt them and.
hasn't even been 30 days, man.
I know. Un
Yeah.
poquito sal, ¿verdad? Sal y limón on the wound. Right there you go.
Well, I mean, to answer your question, my assessment, obviously, it was bad. But what made it worse is that, December of 2021, we all knew it was going to be bad. I think majority of folks did not expect the group stage exit. As far as will this always be Mexico group stage out in the round of 16? Um, at the end of the day, it's a World Cup. I mean, 32 teams. There's about to be 48. I mean, there can only be one winner, and there's a lot of countries that prepare themselves a lot better and have a lot more talent. At the end of the day, you're also going to need a little bit of luck on your side. Mexico has not had a lot of that luck on their side, whether it was at No Era Penal versus Holland, that golazo by Maxi in 2006. You're always going to need a little bit of luck as well. But if Mexico gets their act together as far as not doing shady deals under the table, not whoring themselves out to the U.S., and they actually plan a serious project, I definitely think the talent's there. I mean, Mexican players, uh, they're like a step below Argentinian and Brazilian players as far as Latin America, but they can compete with anybody else. They can definitely be a
That's
top 16 team for sure.
that's interesting because maybe this is my like just ignorance of soccer knowledge. But whenever I look at Mexico talent, I put them like on the tier of like Peru,
Oh
like
man.
talent.
You gotta do us like that.
No. Mexican players, man, they're highly respected. Mexican players can play the ball to feet, play the ball on the ground. None of that like all long air balls. None of that physical play. Like Mexican players like playing with the ball. One thing about Mexican players though is not even their fault. It's more of the system. There's not a lot of developers as far as coaches in the youth levels. So they kind of like they're more like scouts. They're like, oh, that 8 year old's really good. I'm gonna bring him to my Chivas academy. That 10 year old's really good, but that's all they do. Most of them just take good players and keep them through the ranks. But a lot of these players, when they go play in Europe, they tell you, "I'm learning so much stuff I never learned." so that kind of handicaps you. Same thing in Argentina, man. The way they like create players like crazy, and they're sending them out at very young ages, and they go to Europe and they adapt really quick. It's because down there's a big emphasis on actual development. It's like you ever hear that cliche thing? Uh, Development coaches shouldn't play for the win; they should play to develop. It seems like in Mexico they do more play for the win at the youth level.
I
It's
was thinking about this. Like, Mexico is exporting a lot more players to MLS, and we see like the U.S. team do better than Mexico this year. So, should the approach be? I don't think it will be because Mexico's like the Mexican league is about money, right? Shouldn't the league kind of emphasis be like let's harness young talent, give them minutes, let them play here instead of shipping them off to FC Dallas to sit on a bench for whatever, or send them to Europe. Let's actually let them play and develop here. Even like I don't even know, maybe it's some regulation thing, but it would be cool to see Mexican players go to Boca Juniors or New Old Boys in Argentina,
there's no
and
money
then
there. They can't afford us.
No, those
but
those takes those takes. No, look, first you don't send a player to Europe to develop. They don't really buy them for that. Perhaps in the Dutch league they'll take a young player to sell them, and
mhm.
and that's where we kind of get that take. But majority of leagues, they're not buying you because they want to develop you. They're buying you because they feel you could help the team. And if you're not helping, then they get rid of you right away. I mean, the number of players that go through those leagues, it's massive because they just treat it as very disposable. So I think that's where we make a mistake of thinking that we could send abroad so that they could be developed, because that's not it. Just it has never worked. And even in the past, the Mex teams would send some youth to South America, Chile and Argentina, even Uruguay, and they would just come back because again, they weren't going to make money off of you. They weren't going to sell the players, so there's no incentive for those teams to, at the end of the day, the best development is just it's playing time. That's it. No matter where you're getting it, we could get day in day out playing time. You'll develop good enough, and then of course, yeah, if you want to join a better team, that's an option. But just because off the bat you seem like you're gonna have some talent and go abroad in the hopes that you'll become better, I think all the info we have that we've seen, it points the opposite. Like Coutinho went there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have the stats to back this up. It's more of a inclining.
Yeah,
You guys can tell me, but I feel like I'm in my 30s now, but I remember like the Mexico squad with like Cuauhtemoc Blanco, Luis Hernandez. Those guys were all they played in Mexico, and I don't have the stats like I said, but I believe they fared better in the World Cup than like these teams where like the Mexico has Lozano, Chicharito, all these guys that are playing overseas, but it doesn't translate to anything.
Yeah, but it was going back to the previous point. Everything is the gap is closing down so much more. That's why this World Cup, you have teams like Morocco and Croatia make it to semifinals. Croatia back to back. You have a lot more upsets than usual because that gap between like the best guy, the cream of the crop, and like the lower teams is closing, and it keeps closing. And then another thing, you earlier before you said the U.S. had a better World Cup than Mexico. If you consider them making it out of the group, yeah. But if you look at the stats, they had the same amount of wins, same amount of losses, same amount of goals for, same amount of goals against. Numbers wise, they had the same darn thing. And then before that, the U.S. didn't make it to the 2018 World Cup. So because they didn't make it to one World Cup and they had the same stats as Mexico in the next one, all of a sudden they're a lot better. I mean, like it's like it can. You got to look at a lot of things. It's not all like black and white.
I get it, but it's just like at the end of the day, me as I'm not, I don't even consider myself like a true diehard fan, but me as like someone that checks in on the team is like results, right? Like either you make it out to the next round or you don't, because but I get what you're saying. It's like a results driven industry, right? Like we want to see either you win or you don't win. So that's just kind of what I was looking at. But I mean, hopefully things get better. But yeah, it's just interested to see what you guys' take was on that.
As far as like my outlook on the national team, I think Mexico has what it takes to be in the top eight. Being realistic, they have been ranked third, fourth in the world under Ricardo de la Volpe back in 2006, but those are Coca-Cola rankings. So, you take those with a grain of salt. But I think Mexico on a really good day could be in the top eight. And with a little bit of luck, they could be like within the top four. As far as them winning a World Cup, maybe one day we'll see it.
Wait, Jaime, be in the top four for one World Cup or become a
Like,
top four team.
if you were to, let's say 2026, right? I expect Mexico, because it's at home, do what they did in the last two World Cups where they were the hosts, and that is quarterfinal appearances, so in the top eight. And
No, but I mean, just crack into that group. But I mean, just for that one cycle, or
yeah,
become one of
I'm talking
those
about
teams.
like being ranked number four, like after a world, say like you got to semifinals in World Cup, you were the best,
Okay, I see what you mean
yeah.
now. Because
But
yeah, for them
being
to actually
consistently,
be
yeah, being
no,
consistently
what part?
in the top eight. I mean, Mako was for a while. They were consistently like at least in the top 15, top 12. They would get
But they
on.
still are.
Yeah.
They still
So it's
are. I
like
mean,
Yeah,
that's
but
was just one
you
bad.
can't consistently be top four or whatever because outside of like Argentina, Brazil, Germany, no one really does that. Even Spain always used
Not
to suck,
anymore. Yeah.
and then the 2008,
yeah
2012 they were great, and now their last two World Cups they have no their last three they have sucked. So I mean, it's only like a very few countries that can consistently and historically stay in that top four, top eight.
Yeah,
yeah
or it more to your point, Pastor. It fluctuates. Like you'll have Germany for like 10 years would be like really good, and then like right now we're seeing where they two World Cups in a row where they don't make it out of the group stage. And you'll see a couple teams like that, and you kind of just you could see it even just looking at the results, where you'll see some World Cup teams reach the final like twice. So um, France, they reached two back-to-back finals, um, and you kind of see that often. And so France is still right now at that top three, top four level. And then like Italy used to be, and then how many? What has there been? Four World
Italy's
Cups
been
now?
erased for the last like decade, dog. They
Probably
Yeah,
more.
but also it's a little bit of luck. Like
it
Italy
is
on
luck.
the qualifiers,
I don't.
World Cup
Well,
qualifiers,
They
they
won the
went
Euro. They
unbeaten.
didn't make the World Cup. So yeah,
No, the
it is luck.
qualifiers, they went unbeaten.
Yeah, but they
And
drew a
then
few games too. I mean, it wasn't all
yeah, but
wins.
they went unbeaten. They didn't lose a single one. They had wins and draws. And the only game they lost
Hey
was
man,
against
it
North
sucks to
Macedonia.
suck. It sucks to suck, bro.
No,
I
but
don't know
I'm
what
just
to
saying,
say.
there's a little bit of luck involved too. They win that game against Macedonia,
They
which was
should
their
have.
only loss, and then let's say in the World Cup they sneak into the top four.
Hey
Is
man,
Italy
they
all
should
of
have
a
focused on
sudden?
soccer and not spaghetti. I'm sorry, bro. I don't know what to tell you.
I don't know.
Sorry, I have a friend that's like half Italian, so I give him a lot of shit.
Are you? I'm as I'm hearing you roast Italy. I'm just thinking about my dad. My dad's Italian. But yeah, this is this is accurate. So it's fine.
Yeah,
oh,
he
really?
was bitching and moaning. He's like, "We won the Euro. We should be in the World Cup." I'm like, dude, sucks to suck, man. I don't know what to say, dude. They haven't been in the knockout stage in the World Cup since they won it in 2006. So let that
Yeah,
sink
they
in.
they are they are an enigma because their squad is very stacked and very talented. So that's it's very
It's
difficult to talk about them because
in many ways there's a lot of memes about the Italian team. It's very similar to the Mexican kind of memes of the soccer team where like you'll see the Mexican team like having not this one but like previous ones having like a carne asada and some beers instead of training like all the
damn.
way. That's the Italian lifestyle as well, man. It's like the too much pasta, too much stromboli, and then you take your eye off the ball. So
Hey man,
it
we
is
have a
interesting.
lot of Mexicans in Serie A, so I'm starting to keep an eye on it. Unfortunately, it's on Paramount, so you have to have Paramount to watch it. But We had
I know Mr. Ochoa, yeah.
Ochoa had his debut. You have Johan Vasquez. You have Chucky Lozano,
That's
and
right.
am I missing somebody else? I feel like there might be another player in Serie A, but um,
It's now that you mentioned that, of the different leagues in Europe, which one do you think caters to the Mexican player the most?
Dutch league.
Yeah, the Dutch league. They roll out
Zero
the
zero
carpet.
defense, all offense, bro. It's all
They even did a beer. They named the beer after Guardado.
they did.
Yeah, it's like the Golden Eagle or
Oh
something.
my god, I gotta try it. I gotta go to
I don't know if they're still making it, dude,
I
but
gotta go to Delirium
they.
in Belgium, bro.
I
Eh,
bet you.
I would also say Mexicans did well in Germany.
Oh yeah, we need more
Yeah, they
Mexicans back
have
in the Bundesliga, bro. Bundesliga is so fun to
Chicharo, yeah.
watch. We had
Yeah, I like watching Bundesliga. It's an entertaining brand.
Osorio, we had Pardo, we had who else went to
Chicharo,
yeah, Chicharo, Salcedo.
Guardado, Fabian.
Fabian, Aron Galindo,
That's right. Yeah.
Rafa's ex-wife.
Rafa, I'll give my take. My take on the selección is that they peaked, and they peaked a few years back, but they peaked in a.
What year?
I can't
The under
right now. I
17 World
can't think
Cup?
of. No, no,
2014.
senior team. But where they peaked is not a bad place because they were between 13th and 16th, and that's kind of where they're at. And to break top 10 is it's very difficult. But I do feel that they've kind of stayed there. Um, I think for the selección to improve, they just need to, Liga MX needs to concentrate on developing more players. And so it's not just the first division, it should also be second division, which is also filled with foreigners. Um, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, I wasn't sure. Al Pastor was mentioning how there's very little talent earlier, as far as like when you look for Mexican nationals to buy from clubs, and it's true, it's been very little. And the big reason for that was because the league opened up. You know, it used to be 3 foreigners per team. No, four. I think it was 4 and 5.
Four
It
and
was
five.
four. Yeah, I think the FA was it, one more or one less? Still 4 and 5, but you saw teams that those 4 or 5 players were really good. But at that point, and you could even see tabla de goleadores, you would see way more Mexican strikers. And I felt that
Abundis.
that made the league stronger. So when you see some of Mexico's best results at the international level, 99 Confederation Cup, they reached 2 Copa America finals,
Finals.
and they lost by little. It's not like they got,
Hmm.
and that they also made semifinals. Um, got some great results at Copa America, and then the youth teams and Olympics and all that eventually. But going back to that, I think that's been missing because now it's like just too many foreigners now. So you'll see what they could line up to 8 or 9 foreigners, and so it's like, okay, you're trying to compete maybe with the Brazils in Argentina. In Argentina, for example, a team can't. The rule is you can't have more than 3 foreigners on the field. I think you could buy up to 6, but you can't have more than 3 playing at the same time. And I think they need something like that in Liga MX, and the teams were like kind of getting ahead of the curve as far as like how can we get around a lot of these things because they started nationalizing a lot of players. So it's crazy to see how many players have the Mexican citizenship
Yeah.
in Liga MX, and that's part of it too. So, but I do think that is, and I'm not blaming the foreigner. These guys come in because to do a job. I'm blaming like the league executives and the presidents because they're not really. I think they don't have faith in the local talent where they feel that if it's more Mexicans like that.
Well, it's a results driven business, right? So because of the short season,
Yeah,
they don't have the time or the patience to
yeah,
give the
but they
opportunity to
feel
young players. They're like, fuck that, we need results today, so we're gonna have to
well.
use
If
you
I
know
think results is one of it, but the other thing is that feeling that fans will not like a team that's filled with Mexicans. It's and they kind of see Chivas as an exception to that rule. But in the past, we saw like Pumas, right, which was had the best cantera, and you saw so many great talent players come out of that. I do feel the opposite, though. I do feel that there is like that Mexican talent is that good that if they had more, fans will still watch. I don't think they would that they see some teams just because they're filled with eight players. I think they started trying to emulate like what's going on in Europe with Champions League, and you see, England and stuff, where you see some of these. What was that team from England? Was it Arsenal at one point that only the goalkeeper was English?
Yeah.
Um, so stuff like that, and then that's you kind of have that with the Mexican directivos, where they're always looking abroad and thinking, okay, what can we emulate over there, or what are they
Well, at
doing
the end
that
of the day, it's a TV product. I mean, besides
it
results
is.
different, I always say this: the Mexican league is like the English Premier League of the Americas. And why? By that I mean they go and they look who's the top guys in the Argentina league and the Brazilian league. Now they're bringing players from Europe, like Gignac and his buddy, and
Tauvin
Monterrey
and
brought the one from Holland.
Johnson, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so now they're trying to bring all these stars because it's not even a thing of we don't trust Mexican players. It's a short league, so we can't risk it with youth guys. And two, we want to put out a quality product out there so we can compete with MLS, the Brazilian league, the Argentinian league, and we have the money to spend. If you have the money to spend and your wallet's burning a hole, why are you not going to spend the money?
Yeah.
My take on the future of the national team, depends a lot on like what Joel said is development, right? Um, we're not developing enough Mexican players, right? That play at a high level of competition. One of the other things that you know we have to do is find our own identity. You know, originally, I know that I'm pretty sure that the Liga MX was sort of like built similar to or changed to be similar to the Argentine league. We constantly
Yeah, the
hire
torneos
Argent,
cortos.
yeah, and then we constantly hire the foreign coach. Um, but man, we need to find our own niche, man. Our own coaches, our own players, have our own identity, our own style of play, and not really give a damn about what everybody else is doing. And I think until then, uh, Mexico's not going to be able to advance in the World Cup any further than what we've reached, which is the round of 16. I don't even think they could do it this go around because guess what? Or this next World Cup, because we still haven't developed strikers.
The striker problem will be resolved with all these players from Chivas coming out. You have Ronaldo Cisneros. You have Luis
Rios.
Puente. You have Danny Rios. You have
Chivas fans have been saying that for years, though.
we have Macias. And I was about to say Ormedios, but he chose Peru
I,
over Mexico.
I, I've been hearing this tune,
I'm
Jaime,
just
for the past
trolling,
20
bro.
years.
I'm
Hey,
trolling.
where's Luke Salazar, man? When you need him, right?
Disculpe.
I would take it a step further, though. I wouldn't say that we're
Damn.
not developing enough players. I would say that we're not developing players. And what I mean by that is it seems like Mexico, you think about it like you see a kid playing out on the street and he's phenomenal. He's amazing. And you're like, I want to take this kid to a club. But once he shows up to the club, he doesn't know nothing about tactics. He doesn't know anything. He shows a baller with his feet. As far as like the game at a higher level, intellectual level, knows zero. And those coaches don't teach him that. And you see that. Look at Enzo Fernandez, who Chelsea wants to pay 120. Look at Julian Alvarez over at Man City. In January, they were playing in the Argentina league. They literally went from Argentina, went to the top level, and fit in right away. And how come Mexico sends players over and they don't fit in right away? Because they're behind. They're behind on tactics. They're behind on
Well,
so much development.
Well, it's
it
lack of
depends. It
professionalism.
depends.
But
Yeah.
let me jump in real quick, Hot, because I know you'll go a little
Yeah, yeah,
longer than me. No, it's the lack of professionalism that's part of it.
yes,
That the Mexican
yes.
player doesn't take the time to learn what they should be learning, right? And the
But
fact
I'm
that
talking about youth
that
level. That
they're
doesn't come
no,
professionalism.
no, they're spoiled, in the league that they play in, right? Even the youth players, right? They
Yes,
probably they get spoiled on the way up. The
they do.
U17s, the U20s, yeah. So I think it's that and lack of professionalism.
Oh no,
It
I'm
is.
I'm talking like grassroots. I'm talking about like U8s, U10s, U12s. By U15, like Arsene Wenger said, you already know who's gonna be a professional and who's not. By U15, you should already be able to tell. I'm talking about like you take a kid who's really good, let's say in El Llano, and he shows up to academy, he doesn't know how to shield the ball, depending if someone's coming from his left or his right, like those little things. And I feel like the coaches, the development coaches in Mexico, is the majority of them are not that. I think the majority are just result driven.
It happens, but it's not that bad because we've seen a lot of players that went abroad and did really good.
Not a lot.
Chicharo,
There's not more
because
than 25. What
because
do you
not
mean a
more than
lot?
20,
We have more
because a lot
losers than winners,
recently they
though.
have gone. No, we do, but I mean we
There's
can
more than
see.
25 players that have gone and
I
adapted
think
right away.
the problem
Wait,
is
hold on.
the problem is that it's
We're,
magnified because we don't have a large pool to begin with. So
yes,
like
there you go.
every player that we do send out, it's just magnified that much more.
It
Whereas
is because
there, you
even
look,
with our
yeah, you look at Argentina and
yes,
Brazil, they're sending heaps of play. They're sending them
yes,
by the bucket loads and like maybe,
yes,
and we,
hundreds,
yeah,
hundreds.
and we're sending
How
like
how
10,
can they do
bro.
that though? Is
We'll
it because they're cheaper, or is it because they're
It's the way
both.
their
or
league
is it because
is
they're not being pampered and because
No, well,
so. uh,
sounds like Liga. I don't know. You guys tell me, but it sounds like the problem is Liga MX. Like it's commercialized, results driven. So
It's
they go to
uh,
Gignac,
the
they're
best
not
way
gonna
to
like.
describe it, Tommy, is the Mexican league is very unique in where they don't have to rely on exporting players to generate revenue and money. Argentina league and
yes,
Brazilian league, they are forced to sell their players because that's how the league sustain itself. Mexico sustains itself without the influence of
they got
exporting.
U.S. money.
They
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 got
don't
the
they don't
pocho
need
money
to
from the
sell their
U.S.
players to for pennies to Arsenal and Chelsea because they
Exactly.
have a team in Mexico that was willing to pay 10, 20 million for a Mexican player, and
Claro, yeah.
that doesn't happen anywhere else. It's that value only exists in the league itself. Like that player is probably
Well,
worth
Brazil has
yeah.
that to a certain extent,
Yeah,
but
Brazil
yeah,
took
for
Luis
the
Suarez from Cruz Azul, so I wouldn't hate too much on Brazil.
no, Brazil does have they have a couple teams that have a lot of money, but overall, the overall majority, yeah, they can't afford to do what Liga MX does.
Yeah,
It's
Argentina's
true.
broke. I'll give you a perfect example. Cecilio Dominguez, who America tried to get, and then there was a whole issue with Independiente over in Argentina. So America went ahead and sued them. I think they
They
sued them
still
for the.
owe them money, bro.
Well, here, there's the thing. This has been so many years that since they couldn't pay them, they're in the verge of going bankrupt and going down to second division. Today, Independiente's president came out and said that he thought America was like a legit club, but realized that they're a bunch of clowns for not forgiving them over this. They don't have the money to pay $5 million fine. They're going
America's gonna
bankrupt because of it.
America should just buy them.
And that's
They should just
Independiente. That's a big team
Just
in
acquire
Argentina.
them.
just
Hey,
buy
I'll
them,
take your
dude, and then
club with
humiliate them.
extra guac, please.
That's why Jaime went to Argentina. He had $1,000, and they thought he was the owner of River Plate. It's
Who?
true.
Where were you, Jaime?
I didn't go to Argentina.
Inflation, man. You can live like a king down there.
Yeah, you can, sir. But no, I'm gonna make my point. You credence. Then let me finish. I'm saying we have examples of players that have gone like Chicharo. He had like what one maybe 2 seasons
You
at
said a
Chivas
lot.
before. Well, I did, but I'm gonna retract, sir. I'm gonna retract.
No,
But
I know the players. I know the players that have gone and done well. Like you don't got to tell me
and
players.
see,
My disagreement was
no,
that you said a lot.
okay, I
Ninety
mean
percent have gone and flopped.
a lot of examples, not just going to Europe. So I'm gonna say a lot of examples of like like at the youth divisions and at the youth levels where Mex does really good against other teams. Even the mixed clubs, when you see them playing in like Kothika Club and there's the Milk Cup and Dallas Cup, all of these youth clubs and where the teams like all the Liga MX teams send their youth clubs and the mixed teams look good. It's not like they're getting made to look fools by these teams that are so far ahead. You were talking about earlier how like the gap has closed, and that's because a lot of the training, a lot of it's they all do the same thing. Like like you'll see coaches and whatnot, they'll go and they'll learn in Europe, and or you don't even have to go to Europe. You could bring someone from like, and that happens in Mex sometimes where they'll have like symposiums or whatnot where they go and then they talk about like how they do the coaching and all that. And so I think that's a big reason why we're seeing that teams how just the sport became more athletic, and then a lot of the coaching and whatnot style of play. It doesn't vary anymore. There's no variety anymore because it's just everyone's kind of doing the same thing. It's not like how it used to be where it's like you could see clear distinctions in playing styles. So you don't really have that no more. So I don't. Long story short, I do think to an extent I agree with you about there's not enough to develop, but at the same time it's like they're not that far behind where we've never seen players that they can hang. And we've talked about here about like Chicharo first season at Man U, 20 goals. He didn't have to go to Holland or anywhere else for 2, 3 seasons to develop straight out of Chivas who can produce a decent striker, and this guy goes and scores over 20 goals.
Yeah,
Um,
but going back to my point, 90% have flopped, and the other thing, the pool for the rest of the Liga MX teams is almost non-existent. Everyone criticizes Chivas and says, "Chivas, you're supposed to be all Mexicans. You're supposed to produce all this Mexican talent. How come you don't have players in the national team?" I turn around and say, "How come the other 17 teams don't produce any Mexican players either?" So how is Chivas even supposed to buy players if there's not even a pool out there?
I think it's
No one's
because
producing. No one's producing players.
Chivas is the measuring stick for the national team, and if Chivas are struggling to produce like, I'm not gonna throw the word world class out there, but like national team players, what does that go for the rest of the league, right? And for the national team, so it's like
well, the league doesn't really produce. It's been very few. We could probably count them with one hand. World class players produced by Liga
not
MX.
not world class players, but like national team players, right? And
I know, but ultimately, if you
yeah,
want to win a World Cup, you have to be able to produce that level of players. And it's like we've had like just one at a
well,
time.
Gignac
You
has
need
one.
like two or three.
He'll be ready in a couple years.
Like,
Gignac,
oh, his kid.
his kid.
Oh man, that's rough. We're putting the weight of the Mexican national teams on baby
I
Gignac
can
right
like
now.
kid.
I think Ronaldo's kid might play for Mexico too. So who knows,
Uh,
man?
Ronaldo's
what
kid. Who?
do you guys consider Shoki's time so far, thus far? I don't know if it's like kind of early, if it's a failure, or do you think he's on the right path in Napoli and his time in Europe?
I I don't think it's been a failure. That's very rough. I think he's had a decent career in Europe, but I was waiting for that moment, right? That moment where like, holy shit, dude, like you are at the top of your game, and like
It seems like is he a little fragile, maybe, or
he
injury
does
prone?
get injured quite a bit. And he's in Napoli, which is fine, but I do think
First place.
I was waiting for that moment, man. I was like the way Chicharito just came in and started scoring goals for Manchester United and became one of the league's favorite players, and he's still ranked number 5 all time goal scorers as far as goals per minutes and all that. His ratio is insane. I was waiting for that kind of moment for Chucky. I felt like he was the next natural you know superstar for Mexico, and I feel like he's kind of been coasting off of his like fame, especially after that goal against Germany in the World Cup. I think he's been kind of riding that for the last 4 years.
Yeah, it's but yeah, I'm like I said, I haven't kept up on really any of the nitty gritty. So who is like kind of I know what you guys are saying that it's the talent is kind of sparse right now. But who is
There's
like
none.
someone a
There's
prominent?
none.
I would
Oh
say
shit,
no, I would say right now, like
baby Gignac.
I would say Edson Alvarez for sure is one of our best players.
Oh no, I still think it's
Jimenez, the
Chucky, man.
Jimenez guy, and the Jimenez kid at
As far as like on a
Feyenoord.
day-to-day basis actually impacting the team and the success of the team, it's definitely Edson Alvarez, man. And he's probably going to be going he's leaving Ajax pretty soon.
Oh no, man. Chucky had better numbers than Anthony at PSV. Anthony's Brazilian, so he went for crazy money at United. Chucky had a rough start at Napoli, but they're in first place this season, and he's been seeing like over 75% playing time. Like he's definitely a crucial member of that team.
Oh,
He's been
100%.
doing well in Champions League as well. I think if Chucky does go to a Premier League team, I think that is his style for his
I would love him in the Prem League.
yeah, I think Chuki's still that guy. Edson, uh, my thing with Edson, he passes the ball a lot to the side and back. You
Okay,
rarely see him do.
Schneider. Okay, Schneider, we get it.
Hey man, you rarely. Hey, I'm not. He doesn't do it because it's not his role. His role is to be a pure CDM. I get it, but that's all you're gonna get out of him. You're gonna get a pure
Hey,
CDM,
that's all you need, bro.
and that's good. That's
Not
great.
everybody can be Casemiro.
Hey, that's what I'm
What
saying.
happened?
You're gonna
What
get a
happened to
pure CDM,
Linus?
which is great. But if you want to build something around a team, you're gonna need a little bit more.
Dude, Linus doesn't even know what happened to Linus.
Screw that bum.
Linus made two
He's
He
got
was
splinters on his ass right now.
so
he was in Spain, right? I think.
he still belongs to Real Betis, but he was not getting minutes, and in order to get minutes, he decided to go on a loan to Portugal, and he's not even getting minutes there. So it's like,
Six coaches, no one gives them minutes. That's what I'm saying.
Come back.
Not
Come
developed.
back, dude.
Not
Come
developed.
back. Oh man, I don't know about
Six
that.
coaches, man.
I-
Six coaches. At
and
one
everyone
point,
likes to blame everybody but the player, and I'm like, dude, at one point, if someone tells you smell like shit, you smell like shit, bro. I'm sorry, like,
yeah, six coaches have told you the same thing.
and he should have went to
Wait, what
Ajax.
six? I'm interested in this. What six coaches?
He's been through six. Actually, you're right. He's been through five coaches while at Betis and now Portugal.
That's
He's
See
been
crazy.
that's a lot of inconsistency there, though. And I saw that happen in Chivas
Yeah, but
with some of
you
the
don't see
youth
Guardado
players.
with that problem. Guardado's
Yeah,
still
but
a stud.
Ronaldo's a veteran. He's
no. What are
yeah,
you
but
talking about? Every time a new coach comes in, you got a clean slate, and
Yeah,
he's blown every clean
nah, not
slate.
always. I don't
He's
think you
blown
could.
every clean
dude,
slate.
Betis won the Copa del Rey.
They paid good money for him. They won Copa del Rey. He wasn't even on the bench during Copa del
I don't
Rey
even think he
final.
gets a medal, dude.
I think he did. Huh?
he,
Participation
The
medal.
he
captain
Like
said
gets
we're
a
gonna use like
he gets a
Ness as
sticker.
practice to lift the cup. That was the most useful he was for the team. He was the same size and weight as the
Bro,
cup.
just to give you an idea of his value to Real Betis, they forgot about him and they took the bus went without him, bro. They had to go back and pick him up, dude. They're like, oh shit.
Oh
that's
man,
harsh.
if
That's
we could
harsh.
only go back to the days of Rafa Marquez, Jared Borghetti,
The Borg.
Cuauhtémoc Blanco,
Well,
that those are simpler times, man, and it seems like it produce a better
Well, and
quality now.
you know what? That a lot of those players they were like key, not just key players, but like leaders in their respective teams. I think we kind of missing that. I think that was missing in this current squad, where I didn't see we really had players like that. That they were
Even like
like
what was his name, Pavel Pardo? Like
yeah.
he wasn't great, but he was like a captain figure, right? Like he
Hmm.
was still
he
like
was
a leader.
he was he Pardo and Osorio. They left to Germany and they won the Bundesliga title.
Bundesliga.
Like what was it? Was it their first season or
First
second? But
season.
they won it.
Same thing with
They
Salcido.
they go and win it, man, and that's pretty impressive considering Bayern always wins. Um, and yeah, that dude was he became one of the captains of the team. He was
Torrado was a leader as well. Back in the day, he was a
Oh,
he was a
you know
little
what?
bit of a mule on the field, but that was his job.
I had
he
never
looked
thought
like
about that. That
I
none of the
like
current players are like leaders at their club level. Because you're right.
Yeah,
Outside like Ochoa and Guardado, who are like captains at their teams, everybody else is a bunch of sheep.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
Vega,
And Ochoa
Piojo,
wasn't even the
Antuna,
captain. What the other guys were. So he's not.
Lozano, all these guys, like 90
Yeah,
out of the 26, I think like 23 of them are not captains at their teams, are not leaders. They're like supplemental players.
Just background characters, man.
Yeah, it's just background characters. Yeah, I had never thought about that. That's a
NPCs,
good point.
bro.
NPCs, bro. That's the new. It's a bunch of NPCs.
Yeah.
we're missing that, and that's part of the, having players play consistently in the league and even stay in clubs long enough where they are the club. Like you used to see Santos, and that was Borghetti right there.
Boni
It
Reis,
was
bro. Come on, man.
they did, but I mean the first person you thought of
I
was the
know.
board, and same with America. It was Cuauhtemoc, and they were the face of the team. Chivas been struggling to have that
We
player
have
that's the
Nene
face of the
Beltran.
team.
Nene Beltran's
Nah,
really
no one close to. Probably Bofo was the last one.
no. I would say Ramon
And
Morales was the last. Like,
face of the team, I don't know, man. Over Bofo,
yeah,
maybe
dude. Are you kidding
the
me?
goalkeeper Oswaldo.
Yeah,
Wait, are
So
you saying Bofo would be over Ramoncito? No
dude.
way.
Ramon's the
I
eternal
meant
captain,
Bullshit.
dude.
I meant the face of the team, like the lead singer, like
The
who
lead,
comes
the
out
lead
Ramon's
of
singer.
first.
eternal captain of Chivas.
Yeah, bro. He's our captain forever, dog.
Bofo was like face of the team because he would dye his hair and he like do all this crazy
He
colorful
give
stuff.
away his
Bofo's
shoe.
Bofo's the hype man of the
Yeah, he was
group.
the hype man.
He's
But
the
as far as
hype.
like
Damn.
consistency
He's the guy
and
that's
love to the club,
yeah,
Ramon Morales.
yeah, dude.
Yeah, he was Michael Jackson. Ramoncito was Prince, man.
Damn.
Yeah,
He's
dude.
knocking down my Bofo, and I started talking shit about him at the start of the show.
Dude,
Bofo
Bofo's super inconsistent. I love
Bofo
him for the
Tables turned.
final, the goal against Toluca. Love him. But outside of that, super inconsistent. He was another trophies. Just super inconsistent. Moments of
Ouch.
brilliance and then super inconsistent.
He
What
he
helped
was
him
better
was
than
all the
Trophy
hype.
though.
All the hype he would do.
nah, but
Although Trophy's already did win one the title already.
players like Bofo just they piss me off so much because you see like the moments of brilliance. You're like, oh my god, if you did this all the time, you'd be one of the best players in Mexico, like easily.
Well, yeah, he liked the discipline. And I was gonna ask this earlier. Was it just me, or did you guys ever think he didn't look like much of an athlete?
No,
He was never in shape. He was never
Yeah,
good.
Hey,
he
back
looked like
then,
a
no
player
one
that
looked much
plays
of an
Llano.
athlete.
Bro,
No, dude,
you
come
know who
on,
was
a
hella
lot.
thick? The dude that got shot in the head. What was his name?
You say fake?
Cabañas.
Cabañas, bro. That dude was like
Carmona too. Carmona was
no, Carmona was juicing.
all
That's the
muscle, dude.
difference.
He's still.
Cabañas
Who
was
is
just
it,
eating hella
Jaime?
like tortas, bro. That dude was like hella fat, bro.
I don't call him fat. He was bulky like Vega. I don't think they're fat. Like
I feel
trophies is fat.
Bofo was eating gancitos, like put in the fridge before a match, and then another one after.
No,
Nah, dude. There was
Bofo
a
just ran all wobbly, man. It was
there was a photo of Cabañas with like hookers, and he had his shirt off, and he was fat, bro.
All right, let me see the picture. It doesn't need to include Cabañas.
Yeah. We're at the hour and a half mark, guys. I wanted to talk a little bit about Liga MX predictions for this season. I know Habibi mentioned Pumas and Pachuca, Chivas. Who was the other team?
I'm gonna go with those three for now. I haven't seen anything surprising. I will say Monterrey and Tigres are the cancer of Liga MX.
Oh,
I
the
think
cancer.
Dude, Tigres bought a guy from Santos like for 11 million.
Yeah.
And he's like a center mid, I believe. Like when you can drop money like that on
Chivas can drop that kind of money. They just won't.
No, they can't. Jaime, I'm
They
sorry.
11
can.
million.
They can go into
11
debt,
million
but
from
they
a
No,
won't.
they can't.
competitor.
you want him to
With
pay
more debt.
11 million for a guy that probably has the quality of Chiquis Garcia. I mean,
Dude, and you know what Santos is gonna go do? They're gonna go buy 3 foreigners with that, and some Monterrey and Tigres another one out of those 3 for another
And
11,
they're
15.
gonna push Santiago Munoz even further down the pecking order. He just came back from Europe with his tail between his legs.
yeah, he did. So don't discount Toluca. Even though they got their butts kicked in the final, man. Looks like
That's right.
each of the tournaments that Nacho has
Yes,
participated in, they've improved.
No,
yes,
they
they
had a
have.
trash tournament, then they had a really good tournament. I think they go back to trash.
I was gonna say the same thing. I think that was their peak. I don't see them
No
going.
love for Nacho.
I
No, no
mean,
No,
love
not
for
for Nacho.
Nacho.
no love for not, bro. I
Never
can't
gets
Chris
respect a
that.
Brown,
He
man
he's
that's
gets
the
no
one
named
respect.
Nacho,
who put
dude.
him.
Nacho Ambriz is a good coach, man. I look,
He,
He's a
I
good
think
coach. I'm not.
I would not be offended if he coached the national team.
Oh, I would be
me
offended.
neither. Me neither. Me neither. Me and you both,
What
Colazo.
are we trying
I
to do?
want
Do
him
the
to.
same
I
thing
want him
we've
to
always
look. I
done,
want
or
him to
we?
be the darkest, most indigenous-looking guy running our squad.
Hey,
Apocalypto,
let's get.
Nacho.
What's Wiki and
He's
Melvin
the
Brown up
top
to
of the
nowadays?
mountain saying,
They
"This is
beat
my
your own
land."
people.
But if you don't
We
like
need.
his name Nacho, then name him Tlaloc. I
Na-
don't care, man.
Na-
Just
Nacho Cuatli.
Tizoc.
Nacho Cuadro.
Montezuma.
Nacho Cuadro.
No, Nacho Ambriz is a
No,
good coach,
Wait,
this is his
his
third tournament,
who?
isn't it?
Hey, what's the name of that coach that
with
coached
Toluca, yes.
that coached El Salvador? But he was Mexican, right?
Oh, de los Cobos, Carlos de los
Dude,
Cobos.
we
Yeah.
need that guy. That guy. I think he beats
Wait.
Nacho on the chart, dude.
Nah, dude, you must have him
No,
confused.
no,
You
you
must
need
have
to
him
look
confused. He
him up.
doesn't.
Carlos de los Cobos. No,
He looks like he came
No,
in
no,
a boat.
no. He was dark, bro.
No,
not as dark as Nacho, man.
No, I'm
no,
talking.
Nacho
It's
is
not this guy. It was some other guy.
Nacho could play Jaguar Paw in the.
Nah, this dude was like super dark. He had like the messed up
That's not de los Cobos.
somebody else.
Yeah,
Raúl
I don't.
Arias might pass, but
I haven't
Nacho's our
seen
guy, man.
many. I haven't really seen many aside from
But
Nacho. Coaches.
Nacho could look like my Taromara grandmother, man.
Oh,
It's,
wait, maybe he wasn't Mexican. His name was Ramon Maradiaga.
oh, that's from
Honduran.
Honduras.
Oh, close
Yeah.
enough, dude. They're all
Yeah,
the
yeah.
same.
No.
How you confusing that with de los Cobos, man?
No,
No,
I didn't know
but
the
if you
name of the
look at-
coach. I just remember the face, bro. The face.
Hey, south of the border, it's all the
He's
same.
got the pock
That's all
marks.
matters.
Is the pock marks. No, if you look at Nacho's numbers at Leon and what he's started, they're very good. He's proven to be very consistent. But
Mhm.
again, like Colo says, he gets a lot of hate.
He does because he's not Argentine.
Oh.
I hate playing the racism, colorism card, but I have to go with that because I just can't find any other explanation.
Who was the last
Where is he?
Mexican
Where is he
coach
doing
that
it
was
wrong?
revered in high regard?
Huh?
What's that?
Who's the last Mexican coach that was revered in the highest regard, like actual Mexican coach?
Vasco Aguirre, maybe.
Yeah, Vasco or
It's
Or
the
La
coaches, both, but you know they're like that Batman coach. Like they're a coach long enough to be a villain.
yeah.
That kind of the same thing because they used to chant "La Puente para Presidente," right? He wins. He has a really good World Cup '98,
No,
'99 wins the
honestly, I say
Confederations.
Herrera.
Herrera,
The
Piojo.
majority of your casual fans say they
No,
want
but
Herrera back because they remember, like, his crazy antics of the World Cup, his crazy celebrations, taking it to Brazil, winning the Gold Cup.
No.
yeah,
But Tomas
like,
said highly touted, not clown show.
hey, no, but your casual fans, I guarantee you, if you say, yo, Chepo de la Torre, Vasco Aguirre, the guy from Monterrey that didn't like Beltran,
Pusetich.
yeah, him, and you say Herrera, and you create a poll, who you want to be the next coach? I guarantee you, Herrera wins by a landslide. I
Oh,
don't
for
like
sure.
him. I don't like him, but I guarantee you,
Oh
the
yeah,
casual fan
popularity con.
likes Herrera the
No,
most.
but I was saying like all of these guys at one point were heroes, and then they became villains,
Yes.
and Piojo was vilified for a long time. And I agree with you. A lot of fans now like what he did, but up until recently, he was getting mad hate.
Do we
You know,
consider La Volpe a Mexican coach?
I
I do.
do.
I do. I
He
consider him
was
Mexican.
correct me if I'm wrong. He has a very good eye for talent, right? Like he has a very good eye for scouting talent.
I think he does. Yeah. I mean, your first example is before that '06 World Cup, and it wasn't that long before. Is where he found Guardado.
Yeah.
Looked at him, said, "Hey, this guy's good." That's probably that. Who knows about Edson and stuff, and Linus and stuff, but I don't know if he was the one who spotted him or not. But he seems to have a very good eye for young talent.
I'm curious to see who will be the next head coach for Mexico. I'm sure no one's I'm sure that position's been open and no one's been applying, dude. That's a
Wait, I
that's a
don't think so.
suicide mission.
No, I
Nah,
think
dude,
the coach from
it's
Uruguay wants it.
Who?
The one
Almada?
Pachuca's coach.
No, they
Almada?
brought it up to him, and he's being very diplomatic about it. So
Well, I think he was waiting for a chance from Uruguay, but then Uruguay already get the replacement.
no, well, the Bielsa thing's not official.
Oh, okay. I think
Mex is
just
one
keep
of the
waiting out
highest
for
paid
that, and
ones.
if not, he'll take Mexico.
Oh,
Highest
for the
paid, but
record,
you'll never be able to coach
yeah.
again,
No, that's not true. You still coach. Come
bro.
on, look at Vasco.
What happened to Sven
Because
Goran
Vasco,
Eriksson? What
that's
happened?
Van, but that
What happened to
Van.
Chepo? What happened to
No, they all coach. Chepo went,
what
and
happened to Osorio? What's Osorio doing nowadays, bro?
he's in Colombia, dude.
Piojo doesn't have a
He and the
job.
Portes.
Piojo went to coach Tigres, dude. He made good money.
Yeah, and he flopped there too. It's a
I remember
suicide job.
No,
Almeida wanted the job, right?
he
Yeah.
still does, man. He's has an
But
altar, and he has
It was
the
sad because like he was not nominating himself, but he was never considered.
that.
Almeida was the Argentino we needed for this World Cup.
I agree. I
Al-
agree.
Almeida was a coach that we needed because he's good in the knockout tournaments, not so good in the regular season.
Yeah, and I think part of it is he knows how to hype his players up. You know.
All you gotta do is put his hair through his fingers, or his fingers through his hair, and start talking about how he loves Mexicans more than Mexicans, and that'll get everyone to play for him.
But
the
honestly, that's what you need from a coach. Need either someone who's really good at motivating, or you need someone who's a genius and blows you away, and you're like, oh wow, I want to learn so much from this guy. And I feel like Tata was neither one. He wasn't a motivator, and he wasn't a genius.
What's
is it
Mourinho up to nowadays? I would love Mourinho to coach a national team.
No,
Mourinho needs to
He's
coach Brazil.
Ancelotti's coaching Brazil.
No, I think he said no. No, Guardiola needs to coach Brazil. Mourinho needs to coach
Guardiola would probably
Portugal.
coach Catalonia. I don't think
what? Why would he?
I don't think he would ever coach like Spain.
He mentioned Mexico. He mentioned Mexico once.
Oh, dude, if we got Guardiola, he would.
we
No
still
way.
we
We
would
don't have
still
the
suck.
players
We
for
would
what
just
he likes.
suck looking good.
Guardiola
he,
comes into a team, gets rid of a bunch of guys, and buys a lot of guys that fit his style. And Brazil's that national team for him. He likes players that
Yeah.
can dribble. Guardiola has said, if a player can dribble, I can make him adapt to my style. But Brazil's perfect for him.
We got plenty of players that dribble, bro. We got the Antunas of the world. We have the Chukis of the world. Even our defenders like to dribble a lot, dude.
I don't think we have all the players that
but
Pep.
Guardiola would love El Diva, right?
Dude, Diva likes to play like a striker at times. I'm like, what are you doing, bro? Go back to defending. Um, it was funny
No,
because
but to finish up my real quick, my
yeah.
Liga MX. Don't be surprised with Nacho Cuadro
Yes.
and then I think honestly I think Chivas is going to finish no lower than sixth
Oh wow.
on the table. On the table, yeah.
That
Okay.
shouldn't be surprising, Jaime. They've been close to six for the past 3-4 seasons,
I don't
and
like
like three
No lower
points
than
close.
fifth.
I don't know, man. I just want
Yeah,
them
well,
to win a title, and I don't really care what position they end up in. As,
so them winning a title is kind of it's going to be hard to tell because you know, yeah, they played pretty well in that tournament for the preseason, but it's a little different in the regular season. But I do think this guy Pauno is getting through to some of these players.
And they have Guzman. I think he's a really good player, and
Mm-hmm.
is the type of player they're missing, or have
yeah,
been missing.
yeah. I will
And less
say
less Brizuela, please.
he has given breath or new life to these players that were not considered under other coaches, right? So like a lot of players that came back from loan, like your Mayorgas, your Ronaldo Cisneros, players that were completely erased from the team now have an opportunity with a new coach with a completely fresh perspective, doesn't know all the other things, and it's exciting, you know. A lot of players that are gonna, go to bat for him at least in the beginning, and we just had good news today with Toño leaving to Cholos and Pablo Rizrar, he's going to Querétaro. So a lot of dead weight gone from the team. Bontes is gone too, bro. I think that's a win in itself. Yeah. So I'm excited. They really look good in the preseason, but it doesn't always translate to the regular season. But we'll see. I'm gonna try and not go super optimistic because I've done that in the past, and you know,
No, this is the year. It just feels different. I'm telling you.
it feels different.
Hey, I'm
Yeah.
saying jornada cinco, seis, siete, around that middle of the tournament. Pocho, JJ, Vega, Piojo, Nene, Flores. Like, if that whole midfield and offense is clicking, that team looks really good.
I just hope Bettis Bouquet gets
Oh, Pere.
opportunities.
See that? Puente. Like a bunch of guys that can't start or coming off the bench. I just feel like this club actually has some depth.
Yeah. Excited for the season to kick off on
That
Friday.
was definitely the feel that I got too. Is that there's a possibility of having some depth, in particular with seeing those young players and the way that they played with with such enthusiasm and hustle and stuff,
The
man.
only concern I have is the defense. That's the only concern.
And go.
And goalie, yep. And we play Monterrey on Saturday at 7. So they're not giving us a easy opponent, and I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, Vegas doesn't like us. They put us a plus 325.
Oh, okay. I don't really know
Monterrey's like
what that means in gambling terms, but
that means for every $100 you bet, they give you 325, and for every $100 you bet for Monterrey, they give you 60.
oh, okay. So they're the favorite.
Yeah, by a lot.
Damn.
Well, I think it's probably a good time to play Monterrey instead of playing them mid-season where they're picking up steam. No, I mean
Yes.
this might be a good time to be playing them as opposed to later in the season.
That's true.
All right, folks. Do you have any closing thoughts before we wrap up episode 367?
Yes, I do. Blooper 2022. You know how ESPN has top 10?
Yeah.
Not top 10. This is my not top 10 number one. World Cup final. Messi, most Instagram like picture of all time. He was holding a fake trophy. Some fans got a fake World Cup replica trophy on the field that they wanted their family to sign. Messi somehow got a hold of it. His whole Olympic run around the stadium, him on top of all the players' shoulders and everything. The whole time it was a replica. Di Maria had to walk up to him and tell him that he had the original, and then Messi laughed. They hugged, and then he got told the original. But that picture you see him on everybody's shoulders, he's literally holding the fake that some fans
I did
snuck
not
into
know
him.
that.
Yeah,
Salt
look it
Bay
up.
had the real one all along.
Yeah, no, look it up. This is not like some
Shit.
random
Salt Bay.
tweet. This is like coming all from like legit news sources.
That's
So yeah,
fucking
Hey,
epic, dude. I wonder
you
where
that's
know
that
what?
fucking
hilarious.
trophy's at.
Hey, when
The
you get
trophy
seven
matches the
penalty
player.
kicks in
Fake
7
as
games, it makes
fuck.
sense.
Dude,
Um, that's a very good closing thought. I didn't know that. That was fun. Tomas, thanks for hopping
that
on,
was a
man.
good one.
We
Yeah.
definitely
Yeah.
want to.
Sorry for bringing the
No,
depressed
it's
feels
good.
tonight, man.
It's good.
That's what
I'll
we're
have
all about, man.
I'll have to see if there's an equivalent of the Italian Cantina podcast. See what they're talking about. But yeah, thanks guys.
Yeah, no, we definitely encourage you to come back and join us anytime. I don't know if you have any hot takes or closing thoughts you want to add.
No, it's just I'm like I said, I used to be a lot more in tune with the club. It's always good to hear from people that are a lot more knowledgeable, see what the future looks like. I hope, I hope there's hope, but just going kind of going off of things. Hopefully, there's improvements to the way the young talent is developed. So we'll see. Either way, I'll be entertained by you guys. So it's
All
all
right,
good.
man.
I just want to say we're not more knowledgeable. We're just talking out of our ass.
Super elbow. What you got for us, mine?
I think I had my last bit there, man. Nacho Cuadro and Chivas.
Joel.
Yes, Tomas had asked our take on Messi. I didn't give it,
Oh yeah,
but
yeah.
it's
Are you guys? I brought that up because I was
yes,
kind of trolling a little bit because I remember that you guys remember Canelo was going in on
yes.
Messi. I think he kind of I don't know, just my opinion. I believe Canelo probably read that wrong. Maybe in the heat of the moment, he was a
He
little
Well, he's
apologized. Yeah,
he's a
he
hothead, you know.
apologized later. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, I was just wondering if you guys are happy for Messi or what your thoughts were on
I am actually happy for Messi.
that.
And it's crazy seeing him. It makes me feel really old because it's like he's at the end of his career, and I remember I went to cover a Barcelona game. They came to Los Angeles, and they were training at the UCLA campus, and I had a press pass, so I went to go cover it. And he was 17 at the time,
Oh shit.
and I went. Big reason I went was Marquez was there, right? He was with Pep, and it was Barcelona, and so Messi at the time, you heard about him, but no idea he was gonna be who he went on to become. All those massive records he was breaking and all of that.
Little did you know
And
you're witnessing greatness, man.
I've
yeah,
yeah.
well, and the other thing that the other guy I was wanted to go see there was Gio. So Gio and him, they had him and like it was like four or five from the La Masia Canteranos, I
Bojan.
think. Yeah, Bojan Creek, Kirk, whatever, and I don't remember the other dudes, but it was trippy seeing them right there training, and Ronaldinho was, of course, the one
Damn.
of the main attractions. And so I remember just watching them, and then I just never really kept up through the years. And then I'm watching the fucking World Cup, and it's like his last World Cup. I'm like, fuck, dude, where the fucking time went? I started with this little kid. Now he's about to retire, and so it's trippy. It's like surreal to me sometimes. Like kind of remembering that shit. It's
I
like,
want to attach a quick moment to that same summer. Look it up. It's a video with Kobe when they did visit, and he met with Ronaldinho, and he's like, "Hey, you're the best." Blah blah blah. He's like, "No, Kobe, Kobe." There's this kid, and like points at him. He's like, "That's gonna be the best player of all time." He's like, "No, you're the best player of all time."
Damn.
Yeah, look it up. It's that
oh
same exact
shit,
summer, that exact same
yeah.
tour. Uh, I'll be honest, Cristiano's my goat, but I do
Yes,
respect
sir.
Messi for everything he's done. He's a genius. He's probably the most talented player ever born. I just think Cristiano was more clutch throughout his career. But that Kobe interview, speaking about Messi and Ronaldinho, that was pretty cool.
That's really cool.
I'll close with I am happy for Messi, and it closes the door on who was better between Ronaldo and Messi.
Oh, throwing
Ooh.
throwing shade right there.
Damn. Yeah, I could care less about Messi. I hate Messi. Fuck him.
Damn.
Fuck him and the national team, bro. I really. Do you think Argentina cares about what Mexico? No, dude. I don't care about
Someone gave
them.
Jaime a really bad choripan. What
Nah, man.
happened
Someone's gotta hate, bro. I don't care about Messi, dude. I don't care about him.
No, but you know what? You don't have to care, but it's like, and just recently Pele passed away, and we should have acknowledged it. The cantina rang the three bells.
Pour one out for him.
Yes, pour one out for the homies. He and those are players that go on to mark like I don't know how to say it, epoca, like go on to be very significant. And
Mm-hmm.
there's
See,
not that many
I
that you're
I I
gonna end up
agree.
seeing.
I
We're lucky that we had that Ronaldo Messi for years that was, I think, for all of us that got to see football, we were very lucky to see like that rivalry.
That was huge. Yeah.
Well, it's crazy because we got to see it in real time, whereas Pele and Maradona, you kind of had to compare eras, right? And
Yeah,
we were
yeah,
literally seeing
exactly.
it in the same like league at one point. So I think we were a little bit spoiled in that manner. But I will
Yep.
say, like, I do agree. You had like the Pele era and like that being iconic. Then you had the Maradona era, and now you have like Ronaldo and Messi. But I just feel like this was way too like forced and fabricated for Messi to win this World Cup, and he ended up getting it. Good for him. But I will always think back about the opportunity for us as Mexico as a country. We had the opportunity to fucking eliminate them, and we didn't. And for that reason, like fuck Messi and fuck Argentina. Sorry, I don't
Just so
You
care.
you,
should be more mad
Except
at
Almeida.
Tata, dude.
Almeida, we love
just,
you if you're hearing.
just so you know, that was Tomas's fault right there.
Hey, I bet you now the players, if there's any rogue Liga MX or a national team player that's listening to this podcast right now, he's gonna be like, you know what? This justifies our loss. We lost to the GOAT. So
Nah, that's some
but
weak. That's some weak mental
but
midget shit, bro. Nah,
but hey, we said it. We said it. It's a
yeah,
team full of NPCs. So
No,
that would be
so
on.
no,
That's
you're right.
true. That
Some
is
of the
true.
players, when Argentina won, under Instagram, they uploaded a pic of that game, the Argentina Mexico game, where they're next to Messi, and they're like, "Congrats, Messi."
There
I'm
you
like, bro,
go.
yeah,
what?
There
What?
you go. There's
yeah,
there's
dude.
no there's no killer instinct. There's no
Yeah,
leadership. It's
there
just
you go,
Everyone,
killer instinct, man.
everyone is gonna tell their kids about how they played against Messi and got their ass beat. It's like that's like something that they're gonna be proud of, and I'm just like pathetic, bro.
Well, that was that.
We should be talking about our next like star player or whatever. We shouldn't be talking
Well,
about
that's. It
Messi.
just shows how big. It just shows how big of a player he is.
Dude, we're
We
not
had. I don't know.
Indonesia, bro. We're not India. We're not over here. Like we
It's
have
true,
players,
but
bro. We have a great league. We have a great country. It's the time that we stop looking up to these fucking other countries and start making us like in that level. And it's gonna take a long time. I might not see it in my lifetime, but I'm so sick and tired of like Mexico looking exterior when we got a lot of shit going for us here, man. And with that,
I agree,
I'm
100%.
I'm gonna end it right there. I'm glad Liga MX is returning, and I encourage you guys to return back next week. And thank you guys so much.
Yeah,
Peace.
Viva las Chivas.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, guys.